Happy Monday, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Dangle Bet Celly, powered by FTN and presented by Prize Picks right here on FTN Network YouTube. Smash the like button. You have any questions, any comments? You guys know the drill. Leave them there. A lot of early action in the NHL. We had a couple people reach out, asked if we wanted to do an episode, if we could do an extra episode since we missed a couple over the break. There was a COVID break. There was a pause. Ewa and I were both feeling a little bit under the weather, so we are back here on a Monday. We will be back again tomorrow. But Eric, what's going on, man? Happy Monday, and how'd your weekend go?
Yeah, weekend was good, man. The pod of the people out there, if a couple guys ask them, we're going to do it, man. I mean, the reality is like we like to do this. For me, it makes me enjoy the games more. Like I'm not into games more than I am on Tuesday and Thursday because of the bets and the anytime scores and the DraftKings lines up. I mean, putting even small amounts of money on these games create interest. And I've been saying this for years. It started with fantasy sports, fantasy football, and fantasy hockey, made me 10 times more interested in sports. And then now the gambling angle of that has taken that to a completely insane level. If I have an anytime score, anytime that guy touches the puck, I got to stand up and see get a real good view on what's happening. Shout out to anybody that's going to be in Nashville for the Stadium Series game. I'm planning a party at Tailgate Brewery. All the details can be found on my Twitter, co-hosted by some really cool guys here doing an awesome podcast called The Renegades of Puck. Crazy Charlie Saunier and the Ultimate Predator and a bunch of those guys will be there. We're pretty sure Chris Mason and Hal Gill is going to appear.
Nice.
Jillian Fisher from Sportsnet, we believe, is going to appear. Working on Mike Fisher and Bobby Ryan and Ryan Smith and maybe even some of the players. Yeah, it's going to be big, man. I walked backwards into one in Dallas, and we ended up having around 3,000 people show up to that one the night before this the Winter Classic. I was really just looking for a place for me and my buddies to drink beer, and then it turned into this huge thing, and they ran out of glasses and ran out of beer, and you couldn't get in, and it was – we're hoping to do the exact same thing at Tailgate Brewery, which is a really cool spot here in Nashville, a local brewery doing really cool things, and we'll be raising some money for some different charities. It's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait.
What's the date again? I'm going to have to write this down so I can book some time off.
Yeah, February 25th will be the night of the party. That'll be Friday night, and then Saturday is the Stadium Series game. It's also a night game under the lights at Nissan Stadium. Tampa Bay versus Nashville in Nashville. Should be a really good game. Two really competitive teams. Nashville, I mean, if you look at paper, like they probably have no business being in that game, but I mean, they've proven, over the course of the last couple of months that they can beat anybody, and they're in this for real. So it's going to be awesome, man, if I make it to the game.
I was looking at some of their Stanley Cup odds the other day. 27-1, not bad. I think 3 days ago, maybe 6-7 days ago, they were 50-1 to win the cup in some spots, the Preds. Like, not saying that they, obviously it's going to be tough for them to go through Colorado and Vegas, but for a team that is sitting there atop of the division for 50-1, it was pretty ludicrous, right? But now even at 27-1, it's a decent long shot. It's okay.
I'll have to go and
we'll see.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at my bets, but I know I picked them to play for the Stanley Cup this year because that's what I do before the year starts. I drink heavily and then make a bunch of long-term bets. Last year, Ottawa Senators, we know that one very, very well. But yeah, I mean,
that one didn't work out.
I think I'm sure it was more than 40-1 at the start of the year because nobody, even people living and supporting the team in this city, were not excited about the season. I was. So looks like I was right again.
I think it was like 75-1 or something silly like that. I had a ludicrous bet last year too with the Montreal Canadiens to win the Stanley Cup. Now they got there, nowhere close to a competitive team this year, and they are on the schedule. And I think we see some people hanging out. Dustin, George, Brendan hanging out with us. They wanted to hear us talk about Arizona and Montreal. We'll get to that in a little bit, but somebody has to win a hockey game between those two teams tonight. But yeah, February 25th. I got it written down. One of my buddies. I'm part of the wedding party, and he wants to have his batch at Vegas. He wants to see a Golden Knights game. But I think I might have to talk him into this. I think that's to Nashville maybe a much better time. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Have an article live here this afternoon over at ftnfantasy.com just breaking down Week 13 of the fantasy hockey season. There's a lot of 4-game streams, a ton. And this is the time of the year. It's kind of crunch time now, I think, Eric. There's like 6-7 weeks left in the fantasy hockey season. You got to go now. You got to get some wins. You got to pile them up. Come playoff time. So you got to just look for teams that are playing 4 games. And what we talked about last week, it's going to be a lot of these Canadian teams. Now, there are a couple this week that only play 2 games. The Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Those teams only play twice this week. But mostly across the board, there's been a lot of postponed games in the NHL, particularly for Canadian teams. Like the Habs are going to go like 6 weeks without even playing a game at the Bell Center. It's ridiculous, but they're one of the teams that play 4 games. There's several teams that play 4 games. The Florida Panthers play 4 games this week, Eric, but all 4 on the road. That trend continues to just amaze me, by the way. Another couple wins over the weekend at home. They put up a 9 spot in the Columbus Blue Jackets. They continue to not only win at home, but dominate at home. And the over is hitting all but 5 of their home games this season, and they are the best team on home ice. So a lot of action over at ftnfantasy.com. If you have any season-long questions, you're watching this video a little bit later on, you didn't know that we were going to come at you live, you can leave them there in the YouTube section. We will give away an NHL betting package tomorrow. I see a couple people who have already messaged me DMs on Twitter. They're open. We're just asking you to rate, review, subscribe. If you can, over at iTunes, give us the 5 stars, write a little something there, and away you go. Send that screenshot over to me, and we'll put you in a draw tomorrow to give away a betting package. You'll get all the NHL picks, and if you wanted to be part of the FTN DFS family, we can hook you up there as well. Javi Perdelezzo already has his NHL DFS picks up. There's 2 slates. Let's talk about this first game. Just get it out of the way, right? Like it's not part of any main slates. The main slate is actually the later one this afternoon, or this evening rather, with Philly, New York, Nashville, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and Vegas. So a 3-game main slate, but we also have a 4-game slate on DraftKings. You got Minnesota, Colorado. That begins at 3 Eastern. And then Montreal, Arizona, LA, San Jose, Chicago, and Seattle. And then the early game here to get us underway with the 8 games here is Detroit and Buffalo. This game happening in Buffalo. Aaron Dell is confirmed. Alex Nedeljkovic not yet confirmed, but I would imagine he would be good to go. We got the Sabres here, home dogs at plus 115, and Detroit at minus 130 here today. So if you are looking to get involved with this game, you'd have to be from a showdown standpoint. I'll just kick things off here, Eric. I like that top line in Detroit. I had a few shares of them over the weekend, and it worked out with Larkin and Bertuzzi and Lucas Raymond. I even like Moritz Seider on the back end there. We do have Alex Tuch is back in the lineup. I don't know yet. Tage Thompson is back in the lineup. That is confirmed. He did play in that last game as well. So it's just the second half of a back-to-back between these 2 teams, and we saw the Detroit Red Wings with the 4-0 victory over the weekend. What do you think about this contest? Is there any first-time goals? Is there anything that you wanted to get off your chest? We just move on here.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those like what do you do? I just feel that the Buffalo Sabres have been a way more scrappy team than anyone was giving them credit for. Jeff Skinner has been rolling and shooting the puck a ton. Getting Tage Thompson back is a big deal for them. Now he's got a game under his belt. And the reality is I watched a lot of Detroit's last 2 games, and they can't generate much of anything. I mean, like, yes, there is that top line with Larkin and Raymond. Bertuzzi has been pretty decent all year when he doesn't play in Canada because he's not allowed to play in Canada because of the vaccination rules. But I'm going Buffalo to win at home. Aaron Dell was pretty good in his last outing. That sounds gross to say out loud, but he was. And the reality is Detroit is having troubles generating anything, especially offensively. So I'm going with Buffalo to win this one because of the odds, because they're at home. And I believe Jeff Skinner's going to score. I'm going to go anytime scorer with Jeff Skinner as well.
Nice. I like that. I have a slight lean to Detroit, but honestly, Honestly, there's some better spots here today to instead of betting on these two teams, but there is some shot props you can get behind just to start your day off right. This game's in under 3 hours coming at you right now, live on our end at 10:18 Eastern right now. So this game's at 1 Eastern. I like Bertuzzi, like I said, over 2.5 shots, and I like Dylan Larkin over 2.5 shots. And just like these two guys today for Larkin, he's at minus 141 over at Caesars, so he's more juiced. I think Bertuzzi's a better price, but Larkin's got 12 shots in his last 2 games. He had 4 shots and 2 assists against the Sabres over the weekend. He had 8 shots against the Jets the game before that, and he just plays so much. He lives in that 19-20 minute range. He's plus 120 for an assist here today. But Bertuzzi, you're right, this game is not in Canada, so I think we can go to him. For Bertuzzi, he's coming up pretty hot. He's quietly got 18 goals in the season. Remember, I think his first game of the year he had 4, but he's got 3 goals in his last 4. He's got 7 goals this month. He's got 5, 6, 7 points over his last 4 games, and he's shooting the puck. He's got 10 shots in his last 2. He's cleared 2.5 in 3 of his past 4 games. You're going to get him at a minus 110 price, Tyler Bertuzzi. He's plus 140 for an assist here, and all he does is have 4 assists in his last 4 games. So that top line is pretty hot. I'll just stay away from Alex Tuck and Tage Thompson, but if you're looking for some action there, same game parlay, those guys could be in price as well. Yes, Dustin, we got Bertuzzi. Just let me make sure the price is right. Minus 105, pretty good over at Caesars. And like I said, plus 140 for an Apple and assist. That's not too bad. All right, we'll move on from this game. We'll get into some more appealing games. We'll start with Colorado and Minnesota here. The Avs minus 215 at home and the Wild plus 200. Man, this Colorado team that obviously not breaking any news. We like them. They score a lot of goals. On the Minnesota side of things, they did get Kaprizov back over the weekend. And their offense broke out. They had 7 goals against the Ducks. They beat them 7-3. Kaprizov had 2 assists. He had 7 shots on goal. No goalies confirmed here. Kakinen, Kemper. There was some reports that I read over the weekend that we could see, Cam Talbot back this week. He was practicing. I don't know if he's going to be just thrown in against the Avs here today. And then Joel Eriksson Ek. I don't have anything confirmed about him. DraftKings is saying that he's out. That he tested positive on Thursday, but I read that there was a chance he could return to the lineup. They're still without Brodin as well. As for the Avs, full health across the board, aside from Bowen Byram, who is sidelined right now. What do you make of this game?
DraftKings has got the Minnesota Wild at plus 185. For me, that does make it tempting. Minnesota is a team that can beat any team on any given day. But I can say that the Colorado Avalanche at full strength is a terrifying thing to bet against. So I'm just not going to do it. I think you could maybe work Colorado into a bigger parlay. And I'm going to take a closer look here and see the odds on some anytime scores and see where DraftKings has them. Often the guys that are most obvious, Mikko Rantanen, McKinnon, they're plus 110, plus 130. But, a player like Burakovsky is a plus 180 to score. That's the kind of bet that I'm looking to make there because, the reality is playing with those players, it's a really good bet. Nazem Kadri at plus 180 to score. He's been unreal. And I feel like he's the kind of player that, he got shunned from the All-Star game and probably shouldn't be because of his stats and how he's played all year.
He's like third in the NHL in scoring. Yeah, there's no way he should be.
He should be at the All-Star game. If there's a year that Nazem Kadri should go to the All-Star game, it's this year, and he's not. He's not going to go, and I'm sure that pisses him off. And he's got something to prove, and he's been playing like that all year until the last week of the regular season. He takes a stupid penalty and then doesn't play in the playoffs again.
Oh my goodness. That's what the Avs can't afford, honestly. He's 5th in the NHL with 49 points. Draisaitl and Ovechkin have 54. McDavid has 53. Huberdeau is still, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the league. He's got 53. Yep. And then Kadri, right? Kadri's got 49. It's certainly a surprise. He's got a lot of assists, 35 assists. He's a proven 30-goal scorer. I don't think it shouldn't be shocking to anybody if he finishes with 30 goals. He did that with Toronto. It's been the playoffs for him, right? And the Avs can't afford it. This is... to me, looking at their squad, and they do have a lot of young players, I feel like the window is 2 years. They got a contract that they're going to have to give McKinnon over the next couple of years. He makes six something. this guy's going to get paid in 2 years and is going to be double digits. So, and we know across the league, look at some of the teams. The Hawks haven't made the playoffs since they paid Kane and Taves double digits. Look at the Leafs. They've struggled. The Penguins were okay because, Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin didn't make 10. But across the board, some of these teams that have multiple players that make over 10 million, they've struggled. Look at the Oilers right now, struggling big time to get anything done. And McDavid is probably underpaid, but Kadri's having a good season. He could still get into the All-Star game, I think, with some votes. There's some fan votes, and I'm assuming he's going to get in. He definitely should be there. I like what McKinnon said the other day. It's not a participation weekend or whatever he said, kind of paraphrasing. It's the All-Star game. You want to see the best of the best, but all good. Leo says, can you guys post all the picks and props after or during the show? Yeah, we kind of recap towards the end our favorite bets, and we will do that, Leo, for you. A couple things. So you mentioned Burakovsky. Burakovsky's plus 155 for an assist today. Like that, I think, is pretty good odds considering.
Nice.
Yeah, the guys that he's playing with. He's got 2 assists. He's got assists in back-to-back games. He's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 assists over his last 7 games. He actually has a point in every single game, but 1 over his past 7. It came against your other fave, Toronto Maple Leafs. So Burakovsky in play for an assist. I like that. And what about McKinnon plus money for 5 shots? It seems like a ludicrous bet, but Eric, his last few games, 6 shots, 2, 8, 12, 7, 6, 7, 5. Plus money for 5 shots. He's starting to get into a bit of a groove. Remember we talked last week on this show that he only had 3 goals? He's got 3, 4, 5 goals now over his last 6 games. I know that you're not diving into the shot props, but man, plus money for 5 shots for McKinnon. Kind of seems like we got to ride this out with this guy. He's feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, just such an exciting player. I told you last week I got to go see Colorado in person. I talked about my wife's line to me when Cal McCarr scored that goal. And McKinnon is just, he's like a high-speed bulldozer on the ice. It's insane. It's crazy to think that they have those 2 players on the same team. And they haven't played for the cup yet. I believe that this will be a year for them. I believe they're going to go deep in the playoffs. And I believe if they can get some even decent goaltending, they're going to be the team to beat.
Yeah. I see Brennan checking in there with Doughty and Quick and Kopitar, the same sort of deal, right, with the contracts. I believe, and don't quote me, I think Carey Price is the only $10 million player to get to the finals since like all those big contracts. I don't really know if that's 100% true, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure that that is true. I remember hearing that when Carey Price, and that's a goalie, right? Double digits, over 10 million. Justin says Kaprizov 1.5 points plus 280. Yeah, that's not bad. He's actually plus 115 for an assist. That's just silly. I see the same thing. Over at Unibet, I don't know who's betting over at Unibet, but 2 points over there is 3-1, so similar to plus 280. I do like goals in this game, right? We're not sold on Kemper. You and I are not sold on Kemper. And when Colorado plays games, they play to the over. They score a lot of goals. They're probably good for 3 or 4, even against Kakinen, who I like. And if it's Cam Talbot, who I also like, they're probably still good for 3 or 4. And Minnesota, with Kaprizov back here, I think is good for a few as well. So Colorado and Minnesota, I will lock that one in at 6.5. And I think we can move on from here. But I do like Nate at 4.5 shots and Burakovsky at plus money. We'll kind of recap Go ahead.
I want to say this out loud because I'm a believer in fate. I've got my Kaprizov jersey on. You can see number 97. So I just put a couple bucks down on anytime score and first score. Is happening. It's happening here tonight.
First, who that Minnesota will score first, or Kaprizov?
Kaprizov will score first.
Let's go.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy bet, right? But it's plus 1,200.
Yeah.
So a couple bucks on that can really turn things around for you.
I agree. Okay. I found it. I needed to find this guy, so I wasn't talking out of my ass here. Carey Price is the first player to win a playoff round with a cap hit over 10 million. The first. So he's the only,
crazy.
right? Isn't it? It's nuts. It's wild. And no other Habs player, I mean, made more than, I think Duran was our highest paid for it at 5 something. But
so
anyways.
I mean, also part of that, right, is those big contracts. I mean, those are just been starting to be passed out in the last 5 years, right? Maybe.
Yeah. Really, since Tavares, right? I feel like Tavares with the Leafs, and then Marner and Nylander Marner and Matthews got theirs.
Well, before
I guess
that,
Kane and Taves were the first two.
Yeah, they were the first two, and they haven't been back to the Cup since that, right?
No,
obviously, because
they
Price
haven't
is
even made the
one to do
playoffs.
it. So they were.
They
first.
made the playoffs too. Yeah,
they made the playoffs, but they haven't. I mean, they got submarined by Nashville that one series, which was that was fun.
I think they beat the Oilers in the bubble too, right? But I don't know if that didn't technically count as a playoff win. It got them into the playoffs. Remember, it was crazy, 24
the play-in
teams,
round, right? Yep.
The play-in round, so it technically doesn't count. But we'll move on here. We got. Well, we do have one thing here from Myron Kidd. Could you safely say that the Wild Avs is a rivalry? Yes, I remember them playing each other so many times last year because of the pandemic and during the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, why don't you go back to when Patrick Waugh, and speaking of Patrick Waugh, I was cleaning out the weekend. Man, Mondays are just a shit show for me. I was cleaning out the storage room to clean out the weekend, and look what I found. A Patrick Waugh Colorado Avalanche notepad. When I was a kid, Waugh was my fave, right? I mean, they won the Cup in '93. I was 8 years old. I was loving it. Like, even as a kid, right? I mean, parents had let me stay up late to watch the Habs, and Dad thought that I was just like the reason that they won all those games in overtime. Like, oh, you got it, man. Last time you were here, they won in overtime. So Waugh was my fave, and even when he went to Colorado, I loved him. And you can go back to those days when Colorado were really good with Waugh, Rob Blake, Hayduk, Tanguay, Sakic, Forsberg, of course, all those studs. I remember a couple times that they got upset, and one I remember against Minnesota, right, with Andrew Burnett, an overtime goal. That sticks out to me because I had all Avs in my playoff pool as a young kid, and Minnesota upset them. Yes, it's a crazy rivalry. They played each other a couple times. I think Nino Niederreiter had a nice overtime winner against them a few years ago as well. It's a heated rivalry. It should be a fun game. It should be actually one of the better ones. As we transition to one of the worst ones, the worst one on the slate, somebody has to win here today between the Arizona Coyotes and the Montreal Canadiens. The Coyotes are favored at -120 and Montreal's +105. I'll let you take away this. I have thoughts, but go ahead. What do you? Are you picking any one of these teams? Again, somebody has to win here today.
I learned last week. We thought maybe that Montreal could win that game, and I put money on it, and they lost. So I'm not doing that again. And, I mean, the Blackhawks probably look the best that they've looked all year, and I think the biggest part of that is because they're playing the Montreal Canadiens, and they are a rotten hockey team. The only argument here is that the Arizona Coyotes are probably a worse hockey team, and that's saying something. So that the fact that this game, it's gross. I'm not going to watch it. I mean, that's just, and if I'm not watching it, there's something very
I'm going to tune in live. I'm going to tune in live.
I mean, they're your team. I mean, that makes sense, but I don't have a dog in that fight. I literally don't own any players. I think I have Nick Suzuki on one of my teams. I actually dropped him for another player.
I get it.
Just because it's a smaller league. I think it's a 10 team league, and he's just, I want him to be good, and I think he's a good player, but he's playing on a team that is just a mess. It's an absolute mess. And you said this, we were texting back and forth. Everything that could go wrong from the Stanley Cup till now for Montreal has gone wrong. Shea Weber's probably never going to play again. Edmondson's been out. Petrie's been a disaster. Suzuki got paid and hasn't shown up. Caulfield played in the AHL. Carey Price, I mean, I think he probably plays hockey again, but we don't know when. Their goaltending has been brutal, and they can't score goals. And they traded away their best player, Corey Perry. There, I said it.
I mean, yeah, Myron's asking, how do you go from being in the finals last year to being a shit show in 6 months? And you just said it. Honestly, it's not the same team, and it does bother me to hear people say that, last year clearly a fluke. Like, you're not paying attention. You just rattled off like 9 or 10 guys. I mean, Andrew Raycroft right? Former Bruin tweeted the same thing. How did this Habs team win playoff games last year? You just talked about it, man. No Weber, no Price. It's a key. No, Joel Edmondson was inside that top 4. Deneau, one of the best defensive forwards in the NHL. He wasn't re-signed. Like, they're missing. Gallagher's been hurt all year. Even little guys like Paul Byron, who chipped in and had a great playoff, he's been hurt. Toffoli's not on this team. Anderson's not on this team. You go up and down the list, it's not the same team. There's a good 10 or 11 players not back on this squad. They played a game against the Lightning, a team that they played in the final 6 months ago, about 3 weeks ago, and they had 4 players in that lineup that played on that team. One was Caulfield and one was Suzuki. Children. They're just kids, right? They're not there. So, I think Arizona wins this game. The reason I lean with them is because of the goaltending. It's Vejmelka.
Yeah.
I think Vejmelka's. I think he's been really good. I watched him play against the Leafs the other day, and he made I think 10 highlight reel saves. He's had multiple 45 save performances here today. Jake Allen is another one that is just not around this team right now. Montembeault is just not a good goalie, so I kind of lean with the Yotes here today. That's my take, guys. It's not a strong feel. Both of these teams, Montreal's dead last with 19 points in 36 games. Arizona they got 20 points in 36 games. The loser here has a better chance at Shane Wright from the Kingston Frontenac. So that's it. But there are some shot props to attack here. Clayton Keller. What do we get? Clayton Keller. We've been attacking at Clayton Keller against good teams. So Clayton Keller here, minus 155. That's okay for an assist, plus 130, right? I like that play as well. You mentioned Suzuki. I'm with you, man. It's hard to hold this guy. It's hard to hold any Hab. Petrie finally scored the first goal the other night. But Suzuki is plus 120 for 3 shots. So I got to put him on my board here today as well. Oh, man. Arizona and Montreal. Must-watch TV. That's it. Moving on, but I do like Suzuki at plus money. Yeah, what about Keller at 3.5 plus money? That one's a bit steep. Yeah, I mean, I lean yes more than no because just the amount of rubber that the Canadians do give up. They allow a lot of shots, a lot of quality chances. They got a lot of inexperienced players, especially on their blue line. Keller had 0 shots against the Avs, but he does have a couple games with 5. He has a couple games with 7-4. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite pick, Dustin. I'd rather maybe take a shot on Keller like plus 150 for an assist or something like that. But 4 shots, yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Unpopular opinion: the Coyotes need to move to Quebec. Dude, that's a popular opinion in my
that's
opinion.
not unpopular.
We're both we both support that. I mean, Quebec needs another team. It's very popular
on this podcast. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving right along. The San Jose Sharks and the LA Kings, Battle of California here. We got San Jose at minus 105, the Kings at minus 105 as well. I put this in the bet tracker last night. Kings minus 115. Looks like I got ahead of myself. Could have got better odds at minus 105 over at BetMGM. Nothing confirmed here yet in goal for LA. They have been going back and forth, man. Like Calvin Peterson had a couple nice games in a row. He had a shutout. And then I thought that they would ride with him, and then they went back to Jonathan Quick. So they have been rotating through both their goalies, but I have no problem with whoever's in net. I like LA here, man. They're just on a run, right? They're starting to play good hockey.
Yeah.
I think that they're a decent long shot. Not for a cup, but if you're looking for a crazy, crazy long shot, they're one of those teams that I could maybe potentially get behind. My guy, Adrian Kempe, though, just got placed on the COVID list last night. That's a bummer. I really like the way that he's played so far this season. 17 goals, 3 in his past 4. He's been a shot prop god for us here over the past little bit. So what will they do? Talk us through this, and I'll look up what I think they're going to do with their lines here. They may move Arvidsson back up, or Dustin Brown could potentially be. Samuel Fagmo is up on the top line. Okay, they're keeping that second line intact, Eric, which has been really good. Trevor Moore, Philip Deneau, and Victor Arvidsson. What do you like about this game?
I like the Kings. The fact that it's even kind of almost even money at DraftKings is kind of
seems
surprising
like a trap.
me. Yeah, it seems like a bit of a trap. I get that the Kings are on the road, but those two cities are not that far apart. There'll probably be a pretty heavy Kings presence there. And like you said, the Kings have been playing really good hockey. Daily Faceoff has got Samuel Fagemo playing on the top line and playing on the second power play. I noticed that early this morning when I was prepping for the show. So, of course, like a psycho in our Dynasty salary cap league, I rushed out and added him to my team.
Sneaky.
Yeah, like a real psychopath. But the reality is it's exciting. I mean, I think Dustin Brown's been a good player. I think they move him down for some leadership on the third role or on the third line with Kapuri and Turcotte. That line has been good too. For season-long people, really pay attention to Trevor Moore. Trevor Moore has been playing really good hockey, a guy that I've really liked. I liked him when he played in Toronto. Wheels to burn, shoots the puck a ton, and him playing with Danault and Victor Arvidsson. Sign me up for that, man. That's a really cool line, man. All three kind of like, that's an NHL line right now that couldn't have existed, maybe 5-10 years ago, because they're all little guys. I mean, I'm not saying that they play soft, but they're little bodies, and the fact that the NHL allows that and all three of them to play together on the same line is exciting to me. That's a cool line. Pay attention to Trevor Moore in your season-long leagues.
Yeah, well said. He's 3K on DraftKings. Our guy DFS Chaser wrote him up about a week and a half ago. It was like maybe a single one-off, somebody that you could just plug in, and he ended up scoring a goal. He had a 4-point night against Philadelphia on January 1st. He's got at least 2 points in 3 straight games, and he enters on a 4-game point streak with 1 goal and 6 assists over that span, as well as ice time has jumped up pretty considerably over the past couple of weeks, where he played 19 minutes the other night against Seattle. So he's clicking with Philip Danault. It's a cheap little maybe duo if you wanted to get, and I think you do. Like if you're playing in this 4-game slate here today with Minnesota, Colorado, Montreal, Arizona, LA, San Jose, and Chicago, and Seattle, I think you probably want to get involved with the Avs and even Minnesota, right? I think that's going to be the highest scoring game on the slate. You can get weird with Minnesota and Arizona if you want. You'll save some cash with those guys. But Philip Danault at 4.2 and Moore at 3K, you really could open up your lineups a little bit. Danault's got 4 goals in his last 4 games. He doesn't shoot a lot, but he is. I was looking for a shot prop for Danault because I've seen it at 1.5 a lot. He's got at least 2 shots in 6 straight games, 2, 4, 6, and 2. But I'm not seeing anything, guys, for Philip Danault. I see a question there on Arvidsson. I think Am the Artist is right. I think the way to go if you're looking for one shot prop in this game is Thomas Hertl. Thomas Hertl is still playing with Timo Meier. When Logan Couture missed a couple games, they didn't put Couture back with Timo Meier. They put they put Hertl there. And so I like the way that Hertl has I love the way that he's played. They're talking about contract extension. In San Jose, he could be a guy that's flipped at the deadline, but he's been pretty consistent with the shot props. He's cleared in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his past 9 games. In the 3 games that he didn't, he was stuck on 2. But I just like the ice time that he's getting, Eric. Like anytime you can see a forward that can get 21, sometimes, you see Flyers, he played 23 minutes. He played nearly 22 against the Rangers. You get a forward that plays nearly 22 minutes, sign me up. Like I'm certainly on board with that one. I think maybe an anytime goal here. Are you feeling an anytime goal from Hertl, or maybe you're feeling one from Moore?
Yeah, I'm gonna look closer at that game. I'm kind of doing it as we go here. The Moore one, I mean, that seems like a crazy one, but I imagine that the odds are probably low because I don't feel that even DraftKings or any of the betting sites have caught up to how well he's been playing, and he's been playing on that second line. That could be their number 1 line right now. I'm trying to find him here. Man, it's awesome.
He might not be on the board.
He's way down. Let's go ahead here. Trevor Moore is plus 380 to score anytime. And guess who's going to bet on it? Me.
Well done it. Let's go. I think, guys, if you're looking for an LA King, like I said, I'm not finding Moore, or I'm not finding Danault. Maybe Alex Iafallo. I think I'd go with Iafallo at over 2.5 shots and Arvidsson at 4. Yeah, I agree, Myron. He's to ask for 4 is a bit much, I think. Meaney, it's Mark Harrison. Just changed my name. Okay, I'm the artist. Mark Harrison. What's up? Yeah, I think Alex Iafallo would be the way to go if you're looking for a king. But I think Hertl's a better shot here. For Iafallo, 2 shots in each of his last 2 games. But before that, he had cleared in 4 straight, and maybe he's the shooter on that line. Kopitar burned us the other day. We had a 13-1 4-leg shot pop parlay, and he was the last one to go, and he didn't get it done. He had 0 shots against Seattle, but he has been shooting a little bit too. I think Hurdle's the best play from that game. Let me just quickly confirm. 2.5 for Thomas Hurdle over at Caesars, -135. He's +170 for an assist here today. I think that's absolutely in play as well. Let's keep things moving. We got early games here, so I want to get this show out for the peeps. Chicago and Seattle. Seattle at -108, and then the Blackhawks at -105. So another game here where, you know, two very mediocre teams are playing each other, and Vegas just doesn't really know what to do with either squad. Fleury and Grubauer are not projected in, or they're projected in, but they're not confirmed in, rather. On the Chicago side of things, just they're still without Kirby Dach, Seth Jones, Strome is on IR, Tyler Johnson's been out for a long time. Over on the Seattle side of things, Jaden Schwartz is still on IR, and Morgan Geekie is sidelined as well. There's a lot of value here on the Seattle side. There has been for a bit. Jared McCann is always interesting. 2.5 shots, been plus money for a long time. Your guy, Calle Yarncroc, has been 2-7 on DK for quite a bit. He's got a couple goals over the last few games, so he's chipping in here and there, getting double-digit fantasy points for you. Sub 3K is all right. This is a good spot against Seattle, against Chicago. And then, for the Blackhawks, Calvin DeHaan is 4-1. He's been blocking everything, which we love over on DraftKings. His past 4 games, he has 17 blocks, so he's had at least 8 fantasy points in 5 straight games. He certainly is in play. Gustafson's been playing on that power play, and then Jacob Galvis is getting some power play time too, but he hasn't really done a whole lot with anything there. I like Kane, 3.5. I'd just take Patty Kane all the time at 3.5. The Kraken are a little bit stingy, but since the pause, Eric, they haven't been a good team. They've been even worse. Penalty kills really sub 70%. They're almost allowing 5 goals per game. I will lean to Chicago here. I think that, Kane and Taves and DeBrincat, I just think that they're the best players, in this game, and I think they could overtake it. So I have to lean to Chicago.
Yeah, I would lean Chicago as well. Seattle, watching them assemble this team in the offseason, I think we were both like, I don't understand what they're doing. Then the free agency came and went, and they didn't go after anybody. Look, I like their jerseys. Obviously, the fan appreciation there is off the charts. But the reality is they need to do something, because people aren't going to support a team that stinks, and they're not a good hockey team right now. They got a bunch of good pieces, but there's nobody that on that team that can take over a game or just kind of come down the wing and score. Eberle, decent player. McCann, decent player. Yanni Gord, a guy that we love, decent player. But none of these guys are game changers. They don't have a single player like that. And I get that they're leaning into analytics, and I got nothing against analytics, but sometimes you got to have a guy that can just do things that other players can, and they don't have anybody like that on that team.
Yeah, they've lost 9 straight games. They're just not scoring any goals either, right? Their last couple games, 5-2 Dallas lost, 2-1 St. Louis, 3-1 LA. They're not really, like you said, they're not generating any offense. They have some fine players that we like, but really, I think, we'll go with Chicago. I mean, I'm not speaking for you. You did say it, but I think we'll lean with Chicago here. I think Patty Kane's probably the best one on the board. DeBrincat has been moved up to 3.5 shots. I don't feel comfortable rolling out, DeBrincat 4 shots and -250 for 3 at Unibet. No thanks. But +180 for an assist, right? It's not bad. We hit it the other day against the Canadians when they played Montreal. We got a power play assist, and that's the thing. Like, they've split up their lines a bit. Where they got Kane, where they split up Kane and DeBrincat, but these guys play in the power play. Just mentioned the PK has been struggling for Seattle. DeBrincat's got 3 assists in his last 2 games, so +180 for an assist is pretty decent, man. He is a shoot first guy. He's more of a trigger guy than an assist guy, but I'll lean with him. And then Patrick Kane's got at least 4 shots in back-to-back games and 6 of his past 8 games, so I am leaning with him. I think McCann is a long shot. I don't think we need to go there, but if you are looking for a second from this game, guys, I think DeBrincat or I think McCann would be one there as well. Myron says, wonder what anytime score odds are going to be for DeBrincat when they come out. Eric, do you see anything for DeBrincat, I can open it up quickly here on my end and see if there's...
So right now, DraftKings doesn't have anything player prop wise that's not even on the board, nothing. But I was going to say, I mean, because they're confused, and I mean we're confused too. Chicago's not a good team either, but we think that they're probably going to win this game, and I think it could be high scoring. So I think if it was going to do something, I would do the over at 5-5, and I would look for some player props. With scoring and assists and shots on the Chicago side. Because, I mean, the reality is we said it earlier, Seattle, they've lost 9 in a row. They're not a good hockey team, and they're playing really bad hockey right now.
Yeah, they are. I think the second line is sneaky, guys, from a DFS standpoint. I don't love Taves and Kubalik. We've kind of been hard on, but DeBrincat and Kubalik could be a decent little duo there, or maybe you want to stack Kane with Hagel there on that top power play as well, together with Eric Gustafsson. So there's a couple different unique things we could attack. I would imagine it's probably going to be like 180 maybe for DeBrincat, plus 180, plus 150 for him to score a goal. Anything longer than that, jump on it. But I think even plus 150 is pretty good. But I will go with the assist here today at plus 135. They're seeing. So, okay. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. I mean, he's got 20-plus goals in the season. The Kraken can't keep the puck out of their net. I think it's more than fine if you want to take a shot on that. But I like the assist as well at plus 170. All right. We did tell Tino we would go 30 minutes. Of course, we're on the 40-minute mark. We're almost done here. We're almost wrapped up. Philly and the Islanders, New York minus 175. The Flyers are plus 160. If you thought the Kraken's losing streak was bad at 9, Philadelphia is right there as well. They've lost straight games. This is a team that is spiraling out of control. I don't know if you saw Bobby Clark just the other day when he came out on a podcast, and he ripped Hextall, and he talked about the picking Nolan Patrick over Makar when all of his scouts told him to pick Makar, and he just went and did it himself. And then he randomly traded Braden Shen to Philadelphia. They're just like, why did you do that? Why did you? Or they traded him to St. Louis. Like, why did you trade Braden Shen? Nonetheless, they're a complete mess. And the Islanders are turning it up a little bit. I said this. I think that they're starting to turn the corner, man. It's hard to put money down on them at minus 175, but I do think they win this game.
I think they win this game too. Philadelphia is confused. Like, looking at the Seattle Kraken, I'm like, yeah, I thought they were going to be a bad team. I didn't think they were going to be a good team, and they're a bad team. Looking at Philadelphia, it's another one of my early season drunken kind of long shots to play for the Stanley Cup was Philadelphia. Start of the year, they were pretty decent, and it looked like Carter Hart had kind of righted the wrongs there, but we're right back to where we were. This is an unexplainably bad hockey team. Listening to Bobby Clark throw Hexy, as he called him. I love that he's burying him and still using his nickname. Such a hockey thing to do. But I mean, think about, it's insane that any team anywhere would give carte blanche to any one person. You mean, like, there's going to be differing opinions. That's why you have a bunch of different scouts and a bunch of different executives. And Hextall's like, nope, no, I want Konechny, or it was a Konechny, right? That's who he took.
In the draft, no, they took Nolan Patrick over
Nolan Patrick. That's who. And
yeah,
those two players couldn't be farther apart. They couldn't be farther apart.
Right. Yeah, it's a big miss.
Think about how good Philadelphia would be with Cal Makar. Think about how good any team would be with Cal Makar, but I mean, especially Philadelphia. Yeah. Provorov, it was supposed to be something. He's a guy that I believed in for several years. He is not. He's just proven that he's not the player that everyone thought he was going to be, including Philadelphia. Carter Hart looks like I'm wrong. I thought he was going to be a big deal. I wrote about him at The Athletic, thinking that this was finally the answer. They had finally found the answer in Philadelphia, but obviously that franchise is cursed goaltending-wise. I mean, they're cursed.
Oh, yeah.
As a goalie, I mean, I'm not a superstitious person, but as a goalie, I would not want to be drafted by that team. I just, there's something in the water there.
I mean, they haven't had one since Hextall.
Yep.
I mean, when they went to the finals, they went through 3 goalies. I think a couple of them, like Boucher was there and he got hurt.
Elliott.
And then Yeah, they had I forget who they had in net.
There was some other guy.
Doesn't
that played
matter, but
really
like they
well,
had
yeah.
they had Bobrovsky at one moment too, right before he got good, and they gave up on him,
Yep.
and then he went to Columbus, and he was really good.
Good
But
idea.
yeah, they haven't figured it out. I don't even want to put it all on Carter Hart. Like the defense has been atrocious for years. And what did they do in the offseason? Like I like Ryan Ellis, but he had numerous injuries over the past couple of years in Detroit or in Nashville. And then Rasmus Ristolainen, like he's not the answer either. So they're a mess. There's a couple guys that I have written down here that I like, though, from a DFS standpoint. I mentioned the Islanders. I just lost my earpiece. Cam Atkinson, I like at 2.5 shots. He's cleared it now in 4 straight games and pretty easily. At least 4 shots in 4 straight. 8 against San Jose, 6 against Pittsburgh, and then 4 in his last 2 against tougher teams in the Rangers and the Bruins. I like that he's on that top line today, but I just don't like Philadelphia overall. Scott Laughton, that's it. And Mark is all over it. He likes Cam as well. That's right. It was Laughton. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Laughton. I don't think it was Scott Laughton. It was somebody else. I can't think of. I don't think that's right. But nonetheless, doesn't matter. Flyers are not good. And the Islanders, I'm starting to see some of their guys turn it around a little bit. I think I've talked enough maybe on this show about Anders Lee, but I do like this guy overall as a player. I think he could potentially be a league winner for you in fantasy if you play in leagues with hits and shots. I know he's been, pretty much a down year for him. 10 goals, only 2 assists. But starting to heat up a little bit more. He's got 2 shots in 4 straight games. He's got 2 goals over his last 4 games as well. The Islanders have won 3 of their last 4. They got shut out against Washington the other day. They couldn't find any offense, but there's a couple guys I do like here from maybe a DFS standpoint. Oliver Wahlstrom, he's going to get top power play time. So he is pretty cheap. Kiefer Bellows is playing in a top 6 role. He's getting power play time on the second unit. You could maybe get weird with those guys in DFS against the Flyers, or you can just take Anders Lee and Matthews Barzal. I think those guys probably hit the score sheet today. I did see a comment from somebody about Anders Lee. Yeah, Dustin Anders Lee minus 110 for points, pretty solid, pretty decent there. I think Cam Atkinson 2.5 shots is probably my favorite one. And let's continue here to wrap up this show. We got the Preds and the Blues. I'm gonna go get my earpiece off the floor, and you talk to me about why Nashville is the best team going in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean Nashville has been playing unbelievable hockey. It's a full, complete team effort. They've got that 4th line playing in a 3rd line spot. They roll all 4 lines. Everyone is pulling on the rope. They picked up a point in overtime. The reality is the St. Louis Blues, you could probably say the same thing. They're playing really good hockey right now. Binnington has looked way, way better. Jordan Kyrou is a force. Thomas is a force. This is a really interesting game. I think it's going to be a really good game of hockey. I will be watching this one, obviously. I think the Preds pull this out, and I like that they're giving us positive odds. I know they're on the road, but they are – I wouldn't not desperate. That's not the right word, but they need to get in the win column. The coaching staff there has been great all year, and I feel like they're not – it's the classic line of good teams don't lose 2 games in a row, and I think that you could put the Predators in that. Look, I'm not taking anything away from St. Louis. They're a great team, and they're playing really, really good right now. It does worry me to bet on the Predators to win while they're on the road, but they need to win this game, and I think they will.
Yeah, I like Matt Duchene over 2.5 shots. I like him. You know what?
He looks like a completely different player. Like we talked about it. I mean, he's making $8 million. He needs to be this good. This is who they thought they were getting. But last year, he was invisible. I mean, for most games, he was completely invisible. And if you watch the Predators games, and trust me, I do. I've watched every single one this year. I mean, he's been the Matt Duchene that they thought they were getting. And he's been it all year. He is tricky with the puck. He shows up on every shift. He's aggressive. He's in on the forecheck. He's taking pucks out of the corner. He's making crazy passes. He's doing things with the puck that a confident player does, and that's great to see. And Ryan Johansson has been very, very good too. He's not hit the score sheet like Duchene has been, but he's been winning faceoffs. I want to say the stat in the last game said he won 21 of 23 of his faceoffs. I mean, look, that's not I mean, he's not making any money because of that. We're not making any money because of that. But that's an important stat. I don't care what you say. Faceoffs are important. Starting with the puck is a good thing. And Johansson's been all over the ice using his size, using his frame. Hopefully they get Forsberg back here soon because he is the linchpin to the power play and scoring on this team.
Yes, can't argue that. We do have some Blues back here in the lineup tonight. Perron is still out. Buchnevich is on IR, but we got Tarasenko back and Braden Shen back. Man, I kind of have a little lean to St. Louis here. It is so scary to bet against UC Saros. The one thing that's concerning for me with this Blues team is Jordan Binnington. He just seems off. He let in a couple softies against the Leafs. I think Husso deserves a few more starts between the pipes for the St. Louis Blues, and I think we could see that today. If he's starting, I may back him a little bit, or maybe lean to the under, right, with UC Saros and net. But the Blues are a little bit shaky defensively. It's tough, man. They can score goals, and then all of a sudden, you look at them and they're allowing like 6 or 7 and they're out of games as well. So I do have a slight lean to St. Louis, but I like Matt Duchene there, 2.5 shots. And Tarasenko, 3.5 is a little too much. And, Jordan Kyrou is just juiced up at 2.5. It's a little bit too much as well. So this final game, we got Pittsburgh and Vegas. This should be a good one. Man, it feels like the Pens have been on the road for quite some time. They're continuing the road trip here. They've been really good to us. I had another 4-leg 13-1 parlay that didn't hit because of them at the night. I had 4 teams to win in 60. It was getting a little too cute picking these teams to win in regulation. I just wanted to improve my odds. Pittsburgh did end up winning that game against the Sharks, but they won by Jake Gensel. This is basically a pick 'em here. We got Vegas -110 and Pittsburgh at -105. Do you have a lean here? Oh, and the goalie, by the way, I had it was Michael Leighton. He was the Philly goalie against the Hawks.
Leighton, that's
in the finals there. Chris and Eric, do you guys ever take goalie saves? I never take goalie saves. I consider it sometimes, but I'm always so scared that the goalie's going to get pulled. Sometimes I would like to attack a goalie on a bad team that's going to see a lot of rubber, but what if they let in 4 or 5 and then they get pulled and then I lose my money? I don't like it. I'm not a huge fan. But there is an edge. It's a risky bet, but there certainly is an edge if you wanted to go that route. What do you make of this final game here? We'll get out of here.
Again, there's a lot of games that people that set these numbers are confused about. I think we're probably right around the same. Vegas Golden Knights are a great team, and Pittsburgh has been unbelievable, surprisingly unbelievable all year. Both goalies have been good, so the over of 6 scares me. I hate betting on the under, but I think that's what I would lean in that game. I'm not touching it, win or lose. I think probably Vegas pulls us off, and I'm only saying that because I lean because they're home. They get the change, and they get the advantage, coaching advantage there. But these are 2 really, really good hockey teams right now.
Yeah, they are. I think I have to lean to the under too. I like Jari the way that he's playing. Robin Leonard's a bit of an
up and down.
Yikes, significantly. But I do have the lean to the under. I think I'll probably ride with the Pens. I've just been riding them. I thought we'd get, a little bit better odds. Potentially could go to plus money later on, but I think I do have a slight lean to them. Man, Jack Eichel's going to come back here real soon. And it's scary. It's exciting. It's exciting, and it is scary at the same time. All right, let's wrap up and get out of here. We went 50 minutes, of course. Go ahead and give us what you got on your card over there.
I've got Preds to win on the road in St. Louis. I've got the Sabres to win against Detroit. And now bear with me. I've got some interesting ones here. I got Jeff Skinner, anytime goal scorer. I've got Nazem Kadri, anytime goal scorer. I got Ryan Hartman, anytime goal scorer. Kaprizov, anytime goal scorer and first to score. That's a big one. Trevor Moore, anytime goal scorer. And then I've got some wild bets. I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm telling you what I'm doing. I've got the Samuel Fagemo. He's playing on the top line and playing on the second power play, and strictly because of who he's playing with and where he's playing, I'm going to be an anytime scorer. And then I got a $5 on him to be the first goal scorer, and that will pay me $130. So ready. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. From a shot prop standpoint, some early action here today. I like Bertuzzi over 2.5 shots. I do like Larkin as well, but Bertuzzi's at a better price. He's been shooting the puck. He's also plus 140 for an assist. I think that that line hits the score sheet if you're doing a little bit of a showdown. I think, Bertuzzi or Larkin in the captain spot, riding with Lucas Raymond, and then maybe getting like a Tage Thompson or a Jeff Skinner in there. That one Sabre, maybe a Dahlin or something like that. But I do like Detroit here this afternoon. Moving right along, Burakovsky plus 155 for an assist. Nathan McKinnon, I'm just going to continue to ride this out. He's shooting the puck so much. 4.5 shots. I'm taking the over on Nathan McKinnon. I like Suzuki at plus money for 2.5 shots. I think Keller on the other side of that game is fine, but Suzuki's my favorite play from that game. Thomas Hertl over 2.5 shots. Alex Iafallo in the same game is okay, but I like Hertl. I think he's a better play. Patrick Kane over 3.5 shots. Again, same game on the other side. I think McCann is all right at 2.5 shots. DeBrincat for anytime assist there at plus 170. I like Cam Atkinson over 2.5 shots. I like Chris Letang for the Pittsburgh Penguins over 2.5 shots. Shea Theodore in that same game over 2.5 shots. Actually, I think Shea Theodore is on the IR. No, he's good to go. I think he is good to go here today. He's off the IR. So Theodore and Letang, both blue liners in that game. And then I did mention, I think, Matt Duchene for just straight picks. Colorado, Minnesota over 6.5. I think we see some offense in that game. I like the LA Kings. I like the Chicago Blackhawks. I like the New York Islanders here today. They're a bit juiced, but I think you can put them into parlays. And I am leaning with the Arizona Coyotes over the Montreal Canadiens today. And I'm going to back the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to continue to ride these Pens. Pretty good matchup here today against Vegas. But I am going to ride with the Penguins. I think that's it, guys. Any questions? I'll circle back before puck drop, a little bit later on this evening or this afternoon. Again, a lot of afternoon games here. We have DFS articles over at ftndaily.com. Use the promo code NHL. Save yourself a bit of cash. Javi Perlezzo has been hot fire, and we got articles every single day. You got the Discord channel in there as well. I think if you're playing in that early slate game, you can get involved with Minnesota, Colorado. You take some value with Montreal, Arizona, or LA second line, or Chicago Blackhawks, and away you go. In the late slate, which is the 3-game slate, I think maybe the Islanders are pretty sneaky. I would ride whoever's in net with the Islanders, whether it's Varlamov or Sorokin, and then maybe just get involved with those last 2 games, the Pens, Vegas, and Nashville, St. Louis. All right, Eric, always a pleasure, dude. We will be back tomorrow. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to hang out. Subscribe. Send that screenshot over to my DM at Chris Meaney, meanstreetsftn@gmail.com as well. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the puck. Cheers.